It may be dark, but even the night has many faces. Tribulation is a dark but brilliant 21st century metal now rock band that does not get nearly the love and attention they deserve. But there is a reason why that is, which we will get to later on. They also hold a secret they want us to know. So into the night we go.
I'm Veer Von Wright. This is Grafikmetal, where metal is celebrated with design in mind.
Tribulation came from Arvika, Sweden, now Stockholm. The band's lineage first begins as a thrash metal band named Hazard in 2001. But in 2004, the band branched and became two new bands, Enforcer, which the Wilkstrand brothers and singer Olaf and drummer Jonas formed, and Tribulation, which bassist Johannes Andersson, guitarist Adam Zaars, and Jonathan Hultén formed. Interestingly enough, both bands have had actually similar trajectory and industry status levels up to this point. But Enforcer, who is solid, and I myself have seen live a few times, ultimately is just your standard Maiden cutout clone. It was Tribulation, on the other hand, that truly experimented and created something unique and influential. Johannes, in addition to continuing on bass, also ended up taking on vocal duties. Turns out he is a hell of a multi-talented bloke, as he also would play drums on yet another band in Stench for several years before committing fully to Tribulation. Jonathan, who also was with Johannes in Stench, continued as guitarist, but also was an artist and would be the band's primary artist while with the band under the alias Necromantic Art. The lead guitarist still remained with
Adam Zaars,
and they picked up a new drummer in Oscar Leander. In 05 and 06, Tribulation released their first demo entitled The Ascending Dead and EP Putrid Rebirth, respectively. Both of them, along with their debut The Horror, released on January 19th, 09, were straight up death metal. The Horror in particular is very strong and still holds up strong still today. It's a must-have for any death metal fan. As mentioned, yes, it was Jonathan who drew the artwork, but in an ironic twist, given its name, for their second album entitled The Formulas of Death, they stripped the death metal almost completely and decided they were not going to play it safe and be a stale, repetitive band. This sucker is about as diverse and complex of an album as you can hear. At a whopping 116 minutes, it's epic to boot. It sees them channel many styles of music in black, thrash, prog death, doom, melodic death, and even psychedelic rock. The pace, flow, and story that builds both musically and lyrically is dark and beautiful. They also seem to have a fetish for a vagina with teeth that lives beyond the forest in Transylvania. So there's that too. Jonathan outdid himself on this one. I love the mystery and allure it compels you with. If you didn't know, and if you flip it upside down, becomes clear. In the Black Void is in fact a figure of a woman, one that in many ways becomes the band's thematic mascot moving forward.
Alternatively, it could have been his girlfriend or even himself, given his feminine qualities.
Onward, the strange gateways beckon us as the floodgates in the dreams of the dead ride the storms of chaos to now walk among us on Disc 3, The Children of the Night, which was their big hit as the previous were on limited small labels, but this guy was their first on a major label, being that of Century Media Records. It also was a unanimous Best Album of 2015 candidate by many, including Grafikmetal. Once again, a hybrid, but much more toned down in style and overall scale, with its mostly being a black metal album with fusion of melodic death, traditional heavy metal, and gothic tendencies. You will notice that either he or the band as a whole decided to make a pact and change their brand logo style on each new release, which I'm all for, but not entirely sure it was necessary in their case, and I think backfired kind of a little on them. Apparently though, we have not gone down far enough, as they dimly light a torch to guide us even further. Album 4, down below. But before we do, notice the pattern here? That's 3 for 3 end of the year worthy candidate albums in a row for the band. Tough to do. Even tougher to keep it going, and yet they kind of did. Pretty equal to Children, a little heavier and darker though. This is also my personal favorite artwork of his. The evil creature, crow-like figure in layout perfectly captures the theme, and the contrast between the black and red is, well, powerful. Didn't like this rendition of the band's logo, and it just placed on in there just, randomly. Note, that mysterious, female figure I mentioned about, it's still there, but hidden in the painting near the outline of the crow-like creature. Symbolically, it could represent many things, but I'll let you decide for yourself. Unfortunately, as previously stated, Jonathan leaves the band in 2020. Thus, we'll notice now a significant shift in their art direction. But the band continues with album 5, where the gloom becomes sound. What, however, still has not changed is their poetry, which is another key aspect to what makes this band so brilliant. Nothing is stale or random found here. Every word is meticulously crafted, as is their album titles. Given this album also generally sees them maintain the same similar blueprint as their previous two, this is the perfect time in talking about how strong a production this band has always had. The texture, warmth, and depth of the production builds a dark, sinister, and mysterious atmosphere, which is perfect for capturing their brand through sound. You see what I did there playing off their album title? Anyways, back to the artwork. They smartly chose an old statue, more specifically one made by Fernand Cutoff at the end of the 19th century. Not the most interesting to look at, but I can see why they chose it, as it does in an abstract way literally depict the theme. And you could argue that the statue figure also represents that same female branded mascot they have going. That is, at least for one more album. Now, on their latest album, entitled Sub Rosa In Æternum, they would cut ties and break a few patterns, though they did not break ties with their desire in changing their band name. That still occurred, style-wise. And sure, you could convince yourself that, say, the rose represents that, female figure. Still, it's the first time that physically that figure does not appear. The album title translation from Latin to English means Under the Rose Forever, or in eternity. And Under the Rose means a secret or confidential, so really it stands for an eternal secret. But what is not a secret is the band's desire to never be stagnant. Once again, pushing and evolving, it was a welcome change for a few reasons. Number one, it was needed if they wanted to maintain that progressive status, as their previous 3 albums were causing the water to get a little stale. Number two, it's about time they embraced their gothic roots. To do this, they needed to slow things down, as that tends to be the primary difference between doom and goth. Number 3, it was needed for Johannes. We always knew it was in him, but this is essentially the first time we truly got to hear him sing, which was badly needed to evolve their sound and will do wonders for their live show. Make no mistake about it, the contrast between singing and yelling is always more powerful than simply yelling all the time. And number 4, it doesn't just help them out vocally. This change allows them to grow as a band in concept and in music. The album is part psychological thriller, part British pop, and part Art Deco gothic. It keeps with their, blood, fangs, women, and empires burning themes, while taking their music and sound to another level. Yeah, I get it. People could complain that it's too much like the newly minted bands like Unto Others or Creeper, but I 1,000 times disagree, as again, this band long ago proved their progressive ways, and a band that is constantly moving, yes, can get inspired, but never should be labeled as a copycat or a clone. Which leads us to one other band that they get linked to. That being a band also from Sweden, just 3 hours southeast, forming around the same time. Both have similar theology, wear black makeup on their faces, are multi-award winners, and started off as a death metal band, but evolved to become more gothic rock with traditional heavy metal roots. But one of them barely headlines their own tour with minimal record sold and listeners. The other is now a global sensation, a festival headliner, and one of the only metal or rock bands getting any mass attention. I think everyone knows who I'm talking about, and you know damn well the reason why. Branding. Yes, Tribulation has a unique sonic sound, continued to push and evolve, highly skilled, with incredible poetic lyrics, and even had the advantage of having a bandmate as their talented artist for quite a while. But wearing a little makeup like they are trying to get it casted as the next Crow flick is not the same thing as creating an entire world with fully fleshed out characters and stories to attract and attach our mind, body, and spirit to. Remember, now more than ever, with everyone's short attention spans. Branding and attention to details holistically on every level matters more than ever before. And this is why graphic metal is here. So if you are a band, artist, or simply have an idea or product that you believe in, reach out to us, and Graphic Metal would love to help you make it the very best it can be. Here are some of our other videos we think that you will enjoy. Until the next time, I'm Beer Von Wright. You've been watching Graphic Metal. Cheers and keep on rocking.